tonight's presentation is not just any mere presentation, but tonight's presentation is a practical leadership session. It's a practical session, practical leadership session that can help us to think, that can help us to apply, and that can help us to take action. So the essence of tonight's meeting is for us to be equipped, with knowledge, with insight, with understanding, so that we can in turn apply whatever that we have learned to our various businesses or to our various enterprises. So that's the essence of tonight's meeting. So we are looking at entrepreneurship in a changing world. So what we are saying basically is that entrepreneurship is changing. Entrepreneurship is changing. Now, the question one may ask is that, what does an entrepreneur look like today? What an entrepreneur looks like today, we would want to take a look at who entrepreneurs used to be in the past. How did entrepreneurs look like 20, 30, 40 years ago? So what we are saying is that about 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, we didn't have, for instance, computers. Almost everybody was using typewriters. So people who needed to type their documents, or people who needed something to be typed, had to make use of typewriters to be able to type. Along the line, computers were introduced into the system. When computers were introduced, there were many people who were unable to transition from using typewriters to using computers. So you will realize that entrepreneurs 20, 30, 40 years ago who were making use of typewriters in their business activities, but had challenges transitioning from typewriters to computers, became practically irrelevant. And so what we are saying is that if we look at the history of entrepreneurship or of entrepreneurs, if we look at how entrepreneurs looked like 10 years ago, 15, 20, 30 years ago, basically we can talk about factories. So 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, entrepreneurs were seen as people who were building or who built factories. Entrepreneurs were people who had factories, who had buildings, who had employees, who had capital. But guess what? Today, when we talk about an entrepreneur, the entrepreneur today is not an entrepreneur who has factories, who has buildings, who has employees and capital and so on. The entrepreneur today is an entrepreneur who uses a laptop, who uses the internet, who uses AI, artificial intelligence, and who uses ideas. I mean, tonight, I am in Ghana, and most of you are in Morocco. My friend Noor, who is on the line, is from Turkey. So we are all from different parts of the world. Because we all have access to the internet, Because we all have access to mobile phones or tablets or laptops, we have been able to come together for this meeting. If not for the fact that we have laptops, if not for the fact that we have tablets, mobile phones, all kinds of devices, internet, which has made it possible for us to gather tonight, if not for platforms like Zoom, like Facebook and so on, that has made it possible for us to be able to gather tonight, to be able to have this engagement. Guess what? In order for us to have had this program, I would have had to fly from Ghana to Morocco in order to be able to come and deliver this presentation. All of us in Morocco, I'm sure we may be scattered across Morocco. We would have had to come from different places to either Casablanca or wherever we may the central point may be. All of us would have had to come together to gather in one room, to gather in one hall. In other parts of the world would have had to fly to Morocco to be part of this event, if not for the fact that technology has made it possible for us to be able to converge using available platforms. The entrepreneur 20, 30, 40 years ago would have had to organize a physical meeting which would hold in a hall, in a conference hall, in a room. And each and every one of us would have had to travel to go to Morocco to be at one venue to have the program. But because times have changed, like we mentioned, that entrepreneurship is changing, because times have changed. And so the entrepreneur today, we are saying that it's somebody who uses laptop. So the entrepreneur today needs a laptop. The entrepreneur today needs the internet. The entrepreneur today needs AI. The entrepreneur today needs ideas. The entrepreneur today needs small teams. The entrepreneur today needs a global market. And like we've been saying, that we live in a global village. Once I have my laptop, once I have an internet, once I have my small team, once I have access to the global market and so on, I'm in business. So technology has actually changed the face of entrepreneurship. And whether we like it or not, technology has come to stay. Technology has changed entrepreneurship forever, for good. Like I said earlier, 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, we were using typewriters to be able to type. Nobody's using a typewriter. Why? Because we have transitioned from using typewriters to computers. Even with the computers, there's been several upgrades. I mean, some of you may remember that when the computer came onto the scene, when computers came onto the scene, we used to have Pentium 1. Went to Pentium 2, Pentium 3, Pentium M, and so on. We've had different Pentiums of the computer. And so even in terms of the computer, there has been different versions and different grades of computers. So technology has really come to change the face of entrepreneurship. Where exactly have we come from? So we are looking at the journey so far. The internet age. So the internet age, had to do with the age where we had websites, we had emails, and so on. Now, guess what? Years ago, if you wanted to communicate with someone, with a loved one, with a parent, you would have to write a letter to that person. I don't know about you, but I recall that years ago when I was in school, so in order to be able to send a letter to my parents and receive a reply from my parents, we needed 1 month. But when we transitioned to the internet age, which is the age of websites and emails and so on, you can send as many emails as possible to the same person in the same day, and the person can respond to all the emails that same day. So we moved from the industrial age in the 17th century to the internet age in the 19th century, 1990s and so on. Then we entered the new millennium, the 2000s. And so we transitioned from the internet age to what we call the digital age in the 2000s. And we began to have an influx of communication centers. Today, we have transitioned from the digital age to what we call the AI age, the artificial intelligence age, where we are now talking about automation. We are now talking about intelligence, automation. Today, there's something we call smart houses. I mean, you can have a smart house because we live in the age of automation and intelligence, which is the AI age. And so, like we are saying today, there are a number of AI tools that we can use on a daily basis to enhance our business activities. And so from the AI age, which is the age of automation and intelligence, we are going to transition into what we call the impact age. So from the AI age, we are going to move into the impact age, which is the next step we should be expecting. So currently we are in the AI age. Today we are in the AI age. But the future we should be expecting is what we call the impact age. So the impact age is what we normally refer to as purpose plus AI plus sustainability. So the impact age is a combination of purpose and artificial intelligence and sustainability. So basically, these are the things we should be expecting. So this is the journey so far. This is where we've come from. So we want to look at innovation. I want to ask an important question. Some of us may be familiar. Now the question I want to ask is, what killed Kodak? I don't know how many of you may be familiar with Kodak. Used to be a company that was producing films. Films. What is a film? Years ago, we used to have cameras. We used to have cameras that we were using to take pictures. And we needed to be able to put a film were produced by Kodak. I remember very well that those days when you are done taking the pictures, you would have to remove the film out of the camera. You would then have to take it to these printing houses for them to print the photographs for you. And I recall those days, they would print what we call the negative for you. The negative. They would print the negative. And the negative was always black. It was black. The pictures were black and white. I mean, you needed to use the sun to be able to look at the pictures. In fact, without good sunlight, it would be difficult to see the pictures because, I mean, it was. I don't know how to describe the picture, but the pictures were black. It was not too clear, so you needed sufficient sunlight to be able to look at the negatives. Then once you go through the negatives, you will now select the pictures that you want them to print for you. Kodak was the company that was producing the films. The films that were being used to produce, that were being used for our cameras and so on, that were produced by Kodak. Today, we don't have films. The films are gone. Today, Kodak is gone. It's because of innovation. Number two, I mentioned this earlier, but I think it's still worth repeating. What killed Nokia? The first mobile phone that I got was a Nokia 3310. In those days, were very, very strong phones. Nokia phones had a very good battery lifespan. Very good battery. I mean, those of us who might have used Nokia phones can testify to what I'm saying. Nokia phones used to have very good battery lifespans. So once your battery was fully charged, you could use your Nokia phone for sometimes 6 days. Even in some cases, you could use it for 7 days before you charge again. I mean, I recall that those days, I mean, there were times I could even travel. There were times I could travel, of course, I mean, internal travel within Ghana. There were times I could travel from Accra, the capital of Ghana, to another region, and sometimes I would not even carry my charger. Why? Because I knew, I'll be away for 3 days. I knew, I'll be away for 4 or 5 days. And I knew that my battery would be able to last for 6-7 days. So when I'm traveling, I don't even take my charger. Why? Because the Nokia phones had the question is that, where is Nokia today? Nokia is gone and Nokia is dead because of innovation. Has not been able to stand the test of time. The reason why Nokia has not been able to become relevant, the reason why Nokia is dead and we cannot find Nokia anywhere, is because of innovation. How many of you know video games? But I remember we used to have quite a number of video games, and there were some cassettes. So the cassettes were the games were on the cassettes. So you would have to put the cassette in the game to be able to play. There were games like PlayStation and so on. Those days, it was considered a form of luxury if you owned a video game. I remember when I was young growing up, there was only one guy in my school who owned a Nintendo, who had a video game. And the reason why even that guy had a video game was because his father was a Ghanaian and his mother was a British. His mother was a British. So normally during vacation, sometimes he and his younger sister will go to the UK for holidays, and when school resumes, they will come back. So the reason why this guy owned a video game was because his mother was a British. And so on vacations, they will go to England. They will go to the UK for vacation. That was how come he owned a video game. I remember that my own father later had to buy me what we call Nintendo Game Boy. Nintendo Game Boy. Because, I mean, my father was not too happy about how, I mean, I would always go to this friend's house to go and play video games. And so my father, I mean, traveled, I mean, abroad, and when he was coming, he bought me a Nintendo. So like I'm saying, those days, it was considered a form of luxury if you owned a video game. If anybody had told me that a time will come when video games like PlayStation will be sold on the streets by hawkers, I would have doubted it. I'm being very honest with you. If anybody had told me 10, 15, 20 years, 25, 30 years ago, if anybody had told me 35 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that the time will come when PlayStation will be sold on the streets by hawkers, I would have doubted it. But that is the reality today. Video games like PlayStation are being sold on the streets by hawkers. You have uncountable number of video games you can download for free on your phone and play. You don't need to buy a physical device called video game to play. I remember years ago when I bought a laptop somewhere around 2011, when I bought a laptop because I had gone to school abroad and so on. I remember I downloaded FIFA Football game on my laptop. I downloaded this FIFA football game on my laptop. So anytime I studied and I was tired and I was a bit stressed and I wanted to relax and stretch myself, I would always play this football game on my laptop. So today, we have an uncountable number of games we can download on our laptops, we can download on our tablets, we can download on our mobile phones. So we don't need to buy a physical video game. That is why, surprisingly, video games today, like PlayStation, are being sold on the streets by hawkers. Of course, it's not surprising, but the reason why I'm saying surprisingly is because if anybody had told me 20, 25, 30 years ago that the time will come when video games like PlayStation will be sold by hawkers on the streets, I would have said it's not true. It will not happen. But it has happened. Why? Because of technology. The reason is because all these people have failed to innovate. The reason why Kodak is dead is because Kodak failed to innovate. The reason why Nokia is dead is because Nokia has failed to innovate. The reason why BlackBerry has failed is because BlackBerry failed to innovate. The reason why all these video games like Nintendo and PlayStation and so on have failed is because they failed to innovate. So basically what we are saying is that when we talk about innovation, we are not just talking about invention. Yes, it's true. It's true that, invention is part of innovation. Invention is always a part of innovation. But I want you to take critical note of this, that innovation is not just about invention, but innovation simply means doing something better, faster, and cheaper, and doing it differently. That's what innovation is all about. Innovation is about how best we can do things better, faster, cheaper, and also differently. Let me give you a perfect example. I remember that a couple of years ago, I decided to call someone in Sierra Leone in West Africa here. And I had bought some airtime on my phone and I decided to call. When I called and this person picked my call and we began to talk, just 10 seconds or maximum 15 seconds into our conversation, I heard, "You have 1 minute left in your MTN account." I had spoken for just 10 to 15 seconds and I was told that I have only 1 minute left in my MTN account. I can speak to different people in different countries and I can speak for hours without thinking about cost. Why? Because there are platforms like WhatsApp that has made it easier for us to be able to make phone calls. So the introduction of WhatsApp, it's a better way of communication. WhatsApp has presented us with a better way of communication, better option to communicate. It is a faster way to communicate. Cheaper. It's cheaper, like I said. I bought airtime to call someone in Sierra Leone. I spoke for 15 minutes, only to be told, I spoke for 15 seconds, only to be told that I have only 1 minute left in my account. Guess what? A few hours ago, I spoke to someone in Canada. We spoke for 3 hours, 45 minutes, almost 4 hours. And I did not even worry or even think about cost. Why? Because we spoke on WhatsApp. If I were to buy airtime and I were to place a regular call to Canada, Can you imagine how much it would cost me? So like I said earlier, years ago, when I was in school, if I had to communicate with my parents, I would send them a letter. And as I mentioned, it would usually take 2 weeks for my parents to receive my letter. When they receive my letter and they also decide to reply almost immediately, it will take 2 weeks for me to also receive their reply. And so one letter, one reply is 1 month. With the introduction of mobile phones, with the introduction of emails, a way by which we can communicate better and faster and cheaper way. Look at how fast it is to send an email. So assuming in those days I were to communicate with my parents via email, I could send my parents like 10 emails a day and they could respond to all the 10 emails, that is if only they were available. But guess what? One letter, one reply was taking 1 month. With the introduction of the mobile phone, I don't need to write a letter. Even sometimes I don't need to send an email, because sometimes you may send an email and the person may not even see the email immediately. Sometimes the person may be busy and it may take a bit of time for the person to be able to see the email. But guess what? Once you pick your mobile phone and you call, the person may pick the call almost immediately if the person is not very busy. Unless the person is busy or the person is not close to the phone, the person will be able to pick the call. These are better ways, faster ways, and cheaper ways of doing things. So that's innovation. That's innovation. The meeting we are having tonight has become possible because of innovation. Guess what? Tonight's meeting, like I said earlier, has made it possible for people from Morocco, people from Turkey, and myself, who is the presenter, I'm from Ghana. There are a couple of people also from Ghana on the line and so on. So we have different people from different countries who are participating in this evening's meeting. The reason we've been able to participate in this meeting using this Zoom or Facebook platform is because of innovation. Now, can you imagine how much it would cost if Aziza and her organization were to fly me to Morocco to deliver this presentation? Can you imagine how much it would have cost? The cost of air ticket, the cost of hotel accommodation, and so on. Can you imagine how much it would have cost for them to fly me from Ghana to Morocco to come and speak? Can you imagine how much each and every one of us would have had to pay to be able to attend the program? So you realize that this program we are having online, via Zoom, via Facebook, is a better way, a faster way, and a cheaper way of having this seminar. But for this technology, all of us would have had to go to Casablanca in Morocco just to be able to have this event. It would have taken us more time, because guess how many hours it would take me to fly from here to Casablanca. My friend Noor, who is in Turkey, imagine how many hours it would take her to fly from Turkey to Morocco. Imagine how much money it will cost to buy air ticket, how much money it will cost to pay for hotel accommodation. So if we were to have this as a physical meeting, we would have spent more time in terms of travel time, we would have spent more money in terms of hotel accommodation, feeding, air ticket, and so on. But guess what? The only money we probably might have paid to participate in this event is the money we use to buy data. That's all. The only money we have spent to be able to participate in this event is the money we have used to buy our data. So you see that this is a form of innovation. What we are doing tonight is innovation. So, but for innovation, we would have had to gather at one hall, at one conference hall in Morocco. But because of innovation, we can all sit in our various houses, in our various offices, in different countries across the world and be able to participate, all because of innovation. So what we are saying is that innovation is not just about invention. Yes, invention is part of innovation, but what we are saying is that innovation goes beyond invention. But innovation simply means doing something better, faster, cheaper, and even differently. And so we now want to look at what we call the fourth industrial revolution. We want to look at the fourth industrial revolution. And so, in looking at this concept, unlike the previous, revolutions, this revolution actually combines a number of ingredients. So this revolution, which is the fourth industrial revolution, combines artificial intelligence, robotics, cloud, IoT. Of course, IoT, here we are referring to connected devices, big data, and even everything that works together. Everything that works together. So when we talk about, big data and so on, we know big data. Big data is more of a system that stores information or that stores data. So all these things, of course, robotics has to do with automation and so on. So all these things, when they come together, gives us what we call the fourth industrial revolution. So what we are saying is that the fourth industrial revolution has to do with the fusion of digital, physical, and biological systems in changing business models across the world. So, this is actually the future of the entrepreneur. So we are looking at the entrepreneur by 2035. So basically by 2035, the entrepreneur will be using AI, robotics, cloud, IoT, big data, as well as anything that works together. Anything that works together. Cloud and so on. These are the kind of things that would be used or will be in use by 2035. So far as the entrepreneur is concerned. Of course, as we speak today, some of these things are already in use. Many of these things are already in use. Maybe some of them may not be too prevalent, but many of these things are in use. Many of these things are in use. And so basically, we want to ask ourselves an important question. What is AI? What is artificial intelligence? What is AI? Maybe if you have an idea, you can unmute and let us know. If you have an idea what AI is, maybe you can unmute and let us know. What is AI? So basically, AI simply means artificial intelligence. And AI or artificial intelligence basically refers to machine learning. machine thinking, machine predicting, and machine helping humans to be able to make better decisions. That's all. That's all that AI is about. So AI is not complex. It's not complicated. AI is simply machine learning. Simply machine learning. The number one objective of AI is to be able to help humans make better decisions. And so if you are an entrepreneur, you don't need to become a programmer. You don't need to study computer programming in order to be able to use AI. You don't need that. You don't need that. All you need is to become a smart user of the AI tools. So all we are saying is that artificial intelligence is a system that has come to help humans make better decisions. And let me place this on record. And I think it's very, very important I state this. That AI has not come to replace human intervention. No. AI has not come to replace human intervention. AI has only come to help humans make better decisions. So AI has not come to replace humans. Please take note of that. So I want to ask ourselves, what are the types of AI? Because there are different types of artificial intelligence. So for instance, we have what we call generative AI. And basically, generative AI is responsible for creating content. We have what we call machine learning. Machine learning is actually responsible for predicting customer behavior. So machine learning is able to predict customer behavior. I mean, from a business perspective, machine learning is able to help predict customer behavior. Then we have computer vision. Computer vision, it's able to recognize products. So computer vision recognizes products. It recognizes products. Then we have what we call NLP. We have what we call NLP. We have what we call NLP. So basically, NLP, the question one may ask is, what does NLP do? So NLP helps to understand languages or language. NLP understands languages, or it helps to understand languages. Then we have robotics. So robotics simply is responsible for automating physical work. Robotics is responsible for automating physical. So these are some of the different types of AI that we have. So we want to look at competitive advantage. We want to look at competitive advantage. And like I've said earlier, that AI is not about replacing humans, but AI is about amplifying human judgment, creativity, and execution. So AI has basically come to enhance human judgment. It has come to enhance human creativity and execution. It has not come to replace humans. So number one, we can talk about customer insight. So AI can help you to be able to know what your customer needs. It can help you to appreciate what the needs of your customers are. We can talk about automation. Now, once you have an automated system, It helps you to be able to reduce waste and time. Automation helps to reduce waste and time. Like I mentioned earlier on, that today we have what we call smart houses, as I mentioned earlier. So when you enter your living room, immediately you enter your living room, the lights will come on automatically. The air conditioners will come on automatically. The moment you exit your living room, your light will go off automatically. The air conditioners will go off automatically. Even in some cases, the television will go off automatically. That is a way of reducing waste. Because guess what? Sometimes there are people who can leave their houses and forget to turn off their air conditioners. Sometimes there are people who leave home and they forget to turn off their light. There are people who leave home and they forget to turn off their television set. Now guess what? If your television set is on whilst you are away at work, if your air conditioner is on whilst you are away at work, if your television set is on whilst you are away at work, that is electricity being wasted. That is electricity being wasted. So once you have an automated system, the automated system helps to reduce waste and also to reduce time. Then we are talking about personalization. So personalization helps you to serve customers better. It helps you to serve customers better. Then we can talk about prediction. So prediction actually helps us to plan even before problems arrive. So AI is able to help us to predict. AI is able to help us to forecast into the future and to predict, make predictions. So it helps us to plan even before problems arise. Then we can talk about scalability, scaling, which has to do with growth. So we are talking about growth without growing costs equally. Of course, every business would want to grow, but I don't think businesses would want to grow as well as also experience growth in costs. Businesses usually would want to grow at a very minimal cost. Even though businesses may want to grow, yes, but they may not want to grow at the expense of incurring higher costs or high costs. Businesses would always want to grow or want to scale at a very low cost. And so these are the kind of advantages or the competitive advantage that we can derive from AI or artificial intelligence. And so we want to look at some global case studies. So for instance, we can talk about Amazon. We all know Amazon. We can talk about Netflix. We all know Netflix. We can talk about Tesla. We all know Tesla. We can talk about OpenAI, which is a generative AI platform. We can talk about Microsoft. We all know Microsoft. Then we can talk about NVIDIA. And so these are world-class companies that are more of tech entrepreneurs. These are world-class companies that teach entrepreneurs. These are all platforms. They are all tech platforms and so on. But guess what? These are not just mere platforms. So what we are saying is that the greatest companies are not the companies that rely merely on the use of technology. No. No. But the greatest companies are the companies that build business models around technology. So, for instance, for the want of time, I'll just take Amazon and Netflix for the want of time. And so, if you take Amazon, for instance, you can sit in the comfort of your house. You can sit in the comfort of your office and open an Amazon account, place an order, make payment, and the item would be delivered to you at your doorstep. Now, guess what? If not for platforms like Amazon, what it means is that you would have to physically leave your house or physically leave your office and go to a grocery store, go to a supermarket, go to children's toy shops, go to any of these shops to be able to go and buy whatever it is you want to buy physically and carry it to your house or to your office. But today, with the advent of platforms like Amazon, you can sit in the comfort of your house or your office and buy anything you want to buy, and it will be delivered to you. That is actually building a company around technology. It's a clear case of building a company around technology. We can talk about Netflix. Netflix is not a movie house. Netflix is not a movie house where they produce movies. Previously, we all used to have cassettes in our homes. We had the video decks, and we would use the video decks and the cassettes to watch a movie. Along the line, we had CDs and we had DVD players. So all we had to do was to slot in our CDs in our DVD players and be able to watch a movie. Then, of course, even along the line, we had YouTube and so on, where you could go on YouTube and be able to watch, or even in some cases download some movies and so on. Then came Netflix. So if you look at Netflix has used what we call personalization and content intelligence. These are the two things Netflix has used. Netflix has combined personalization with content intelligence. So Netflix is a company that has also built its business model around technology. Around technology. And so, like I was saying, that we live in an era of technology. We live in an era where the businesses that are fast learners, the businesses that are able to learn very fast, are the businesses that will succeed. The businesses that are not able to learn very fast, unfortunately, will become irrelevant with time. So we want to look at OpenAI. OpenAI. So the question we want to ask ourselves is that, what is OpenAI? What is OpenAI? So basically, when we talk about OpenAI, we are talking about the fact that AI or OpenAI did not just create ChatGPT. No. OpenAI created what we call an ecosystem. So OpenAI did not just create ChatGPT, but it has created what we call an ecosystem, which has offered us an opportunity. So OpenAI did not build everything, it has offered us an opportunity not to build everything by ourselves. So with OpenAI, you don't need to build things for yourself. In terms of building from scratch, no, you don't need to build things for yourself from scratch. But you can build on existing AI platforms. You don't need to build from scratch. You can build by leveraging on existing AI platforms. So I want to look at African success stories. So for instance, we can talk about the fact that gone were the days when Africa actually was following innovation. Many years ago, 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, Africa was following after innovation. But today, Africa is not just following after innovation, but Africa today is creating innovation. So for instance, we can talk about M-Pesa. We can talk about Zipline. We can talk about Flutterwave. We can talk about Andela. We can talk about Paystack. Now, all these are platforms that have been introduced or have become possible as a result of technology. So M-Pesa, for instance, is a financial inclusion system through mobile money. So through M-Pesa, people are able to make payments. Through M-Pesa, people are able to make payments. So M-Pesa is like a fintech, company that has come up with this innovation that makes it easier and possible for people to be able to send money. Zipline, for instance, we can talk about drone logistics for medical supplies. So today, medical supplies can be delivered by the use of drones. We can talk about Flutterwave. Flutterwave is a digital payment infrastructure. We can talk about Paystack. Paystack is an online payment system for African businesses. So all these are platforms that have been developed. These are all innovative platforms. Even in Ghana, we have what we call the mobile money. I remember years ago, if you wanted to send money, maybe to a parent or to a loved one in a different city, in a different region, either you had to send the money through the person's bank account, or if the person did not have a bank account, you probably maybe would have to find somebody traveling to that particular region and you would package the money in an envelope, give it to the person to deliver it to your loved one. And we've had many cases in the past where people gave monies to all kinds of people to deliver to loved ones, and the monies never got to their loved ones. I remember even years ago, people living in the United States of America, people living in Europe and so on, could give monies, could put monies in an envelope, give to a friend coming to Africa, that, oh, please take this money, and when you go back, kindly give it to my parents for me, kindly give this to my brother, kindly give this to my sister, kindly give this to my friend. We've had several instances where people have had to give monies to people, to bring to people, to loved ones, and the monies never got to the loved ones. I recall that I myself, years ago, I think sometime in 2011, 2012, when I was in the UK, I remember giving monies to somebody. I remember giving monies to a friend who was coming to Ghana, and I said, look, please give these envelopes containing money to this person and ask him to deliver the monies to these people for me. And guess what? The person I sent brought the envelopes to Ghana, gave the monies to gave the monies to the person who was supposed to distribute the monies. But sadly and unfortunately, the monies never went to the people he was supposed to give the monies to. Later on, when I tried to follow up on him, he was now pleading with me that I should forgive him. He's very sorry, and that he went for his cousin's laptop, and the laptop got damaged, and the cousin is asking him to either replace the laptop or to fix the laptop. So the monies I sent to him to give to a couple of people was the money he had to use to get a new laptop for his cousin. Can you imagine this? So these were the kind of things that were happening in the past. But today, through all kinds of innovations, you can easily send money abroad, whether you are in America or you are in Europe or you are in Asia. Anywhere you are in the world, you can send money to a loved one without necessarily giving that money to a third party. So all these problems associated with giving monies to people to bring to loved ones and the monies would never go to them has been solved through innovation. Through innovation. All these problems have been solved. So we want to look at some AI tools. I'm wrapping up because of time. Time is not on our side. So basically, some AI tools that we can look at. This is just to give us some AI tools that we can look at. But before I go to the AI tools, I want to look at Africa's AI entrepreneurship opportunity. Africa's AI entrepreneurship opportunity. And basically what we are saying is that we can use AI in Africa for agriculture. So AI can help us in what we call precision farming. It can help us with regards to weather. It can also help us in terms of yield. It can help us with regards to the yield and so on, agricultural yield. We can use AI in the area of healthcare. And so in the area of healthcare, AI can be used for diagnosis, for logistics, and for triage and so on. We can talk about education. So in the area of education, AI can be used for personalized learning. AI can be used for or used by tutors and so on. Then we can use AI for climate technology. So basically we are talking about things relating to waste. We are talking about energy, adaptation. All these are areas by which we can explore the use of AI. We can talk about finance. In the area of finance, we can use AI, to help us with credit scoring, to help us with fraud detection. These are all areas AI can help us. We can also use AI when it comes to SMEs. And so in the area of SMEs, AI can be used for marketing. AI can be used for operations. AI can be used for automation. These are all areas that AI can be used. And so let me state categorically that the biggest AI opportunities are where human problems are biggest. The biggest AI opportunities are where human problems are biggest. So like I said, we want to look at some AI tools that I may want to recommend that we begin to look at and begin to practice. So number one, we can look at ChatGTP. So ChatGTP can help us with business ideas. It can help us with writing. It can help us with planning. So this is one AI tool we can explore. We can talk about cloud. Cloud is an AI tool that can help us with long documents. It can help us with strategy. It can help us with analysis. We can talk about Perplexity. Perplexity is an AI tool that can help us with when it comes to research and source discovery. We can talk about Canva AI. Canva AI can help us in design and social media visuals, especially for our content creations and social media publicity and so on. It can help us in that area. Then we talk about Gamma. So Gamma can help us when it comes to presentation drafting. So you want to work on your PowerPoints, you want to work on your slides and so on. Gamma is able to help with presentation and with your drafting. We can talk about Notebook LM. Notebook LM is a document-based learning. It's also an AI tool which is actually for document-based learning. We can talk about Microsoft Copilot. Microsoft Copilot is also an AI tool which is for productivity, insight, and Microsoft tools. So these are all AI tools that we can explore and we can begin to use from today. And so we want to look at what we call AI workflow. AI workflow. So we want to look at the process so far as the AI workflow is concerned. So the whole process begins with what we call idea, generation of idea. So once you have been able to generate the idea, which is what we call the problem discovery. So the idea is what we call the problem discovery. So once you've been able to generate the idea, through AI, you are able to conduct research. So the research will help you to be able to get some insights. It will help you to get some answers with regards to your market and with regards to your customer. Then after research, AI can help you in your design, in terms of your branding, your offer. AI can help you in your branding. Then we are talking about launch. After you have been able to design your product, you've been able to design your product or your service, AI is able to help you with what we call the launching or the launch. So the launch here has to do with content and campaigns. AI is able to help you with that. Then we talk about the sell. So after launch, the next thing after launching is to sell. So at this level, AI is able to help you with CRM and also with follow-up. CRM here actually refers to customer relationship manager. It has to do with the customer relationship manager. And so AI is able to help you with your CRM and also with follow-up. then the same AI is also able to help improve analytics and feedback. So this is the workflow. A simple AI business workflow starts with the idea, which is the problem discovery, and it ends at how to improve in terms of analytics and feedback. So, mind you, AI reduces the distance between idea and execution. Guess what? In the past, if you were to work on a proposal, maybe it could take you a whole day. In some cases, maybe it could take you about 8 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours to be able to design and put together a comprehensive proposal. But with the use of AI, it can take you sometimes about 1 hour or even sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes even in 20 minutes, you would be able to have that proposal done and ready within that short period of time. Within 20-30 minutes, your proposal is ready. Compare that with spending 8 hours or spending a whole day on a proposal. So what we are saying is that AI actually helps to reduce the distance between the idea and execution. And so we are looking at AI-powered business blueprint. AI-powered business blueprint. So basically, what we are saying is that the AI-powered blueprint offers us what we call the opportunity. So what's the opportunity? The opportunity here is the human problem. Mind you, earlier on, I mentioned that the biggest AI opportunities are where human problems are biggest. The biggest AI opportunities are where human problems are biggest, if you remember. So, the opportunity here refers to the human problem. So, the human problem is the opportunity. Then, the opportunity will now lead to innovation. So, where there is the problem, then we need to look for solution. In this case, we are looking for a better solution. So better solution here has to do with innovation. How best we can be innovative to be able to come up with a better solution to solve the human problem. Then the third stage, we are talking about artificial intelligence. How can we use artificial intelligence to bring about speed and intelligence? How can we bring about speed and intelligence using artificial intelligence in solving the human problem? Then number 4, we are talking about execution. How can we use systems and discipline to be able to ensure that the human problem that has been identified and the solution created, or the solution obtained, and the speed and intelligence we have gotten through AI is executed? How do we execute all these solutions? Using systems and speed, how do we execute the solutions? Then the next stage, we are talking about growth model, which is scaling. Scaling. How best we can grow, how best we can expand. Then we can talk about impact. And impact here has to do with people, planet, and profit. So we are talking about the 3 P's. 3 P's. And this is what normally you would look at in detail when you study about the ESG, that's environmental, social, and governance systems. And so the environmental, social, and governance systems talks about these 3 major pillars: people, planet, and profit. So how best can our products and or services, how best can they be beneficial to people, to the people we are serving? How best can we conduct business in such a way that it would not have a negative impact on the planet? Then number 3, how best can we do business in such a way that we will be able to make profit? Then lastly, we are talking about legacy. Legacy. So legacy has to do with sustainable value. How can we sustain the value of the product we have created or the service we have created, which began as a human problem, which we have been able to come up with a solution? How can we sustain value by way of legacy? Of course, I just spoke about the sustainable business growth. I just spoke about the people, the planet, and the profit. I just spoke about that. So just to reiterate, the question we may want to ask is that, what kind of businesses are we building? What kind of businesses are we building? Are we building businesses that are profitable today but harmful tomorrow? Or are we building businesses that will create long-term value for society? So we are looking at responsible AI and ethical evolution. So we are looking at ethical AI. We need to understand that, as I've already mentioned earlier, AI will not eliminate the need for human qualities. No, AI will not eliminate the need for human qualities. Rather, the entrepreneurs who will thrive and do well will be the entrepreneurs who can combine AI with critical thinking, creativity, emotional intelligence, leadership, communication, and lifelong learning. And guess what? These things are not things that can be done by AI. These are things that must be done by human beings. That is why we are saying that AI will not eliminate the need for human qualities. So critical thinking must be done by human beings and not AI. Creativity must be done by human beings and not AI. Emotional intelligence must be done by humans and not AI, because guess what? AI does not have emotions. AI does not have emotions. When we talk about leadership, human beings are the ones who must exhibit leadership qualities. AI cannot exhibit leadership qualities. Adaptability, it is human beings who must adapt. Then communication, it is human beings who must communicate. Then lifelong learning. So these are all things that will be done and must be done by humans and not AI. So the entrepreneurs who are able to combine all these factors I've mentioned together with AI are the entrepreneurs who will be able to grow and to thrive. So I want to ask today, which of these skills are you going to develop intentionally? Which of these skills that I have mentioned, critical thinking, creativity, emotional intelligence, leadership, adaptability, communication, lifelong learning, which of these qualities are you going to intentionally develop from today? So I want you to answer this for yourself. So we want to look at the 10-step action roadmap. The 10-step action roadmap. So basically, the 10-step action roadmap talks about the fact that these are things that emerging entrepreneurs and leaders should do in the next 90 days. So if you are part of this meeting, this is a call to action. These are things you are expected to do in your respective businesses within the next 90 days. So number one, you need to learn. We've talked about a number of AI tools. You need to learn how to use some of these tools. Number 2, you need to audit. Number 3, you need to choose. Which of the AI tools would you want to choose? Number 3, you must experiment. You must experiment. And all these things we are talking about are supposed to be applied within your business context. You must apply them within your business context. Number 5, you must automate. You must automate. Number 6 is that you must measure. Number 7 is that you must protect. Number 8, you must train. Number 9, you must scale. And number 10, you must lead. So these are the 10-step action roadmap. So learn at least one new AI tool. Learn at least one AI tool. One new AI tool. Apply it to your business process. Like I've already said, apply that one new AI tool you have learned. Apply it to your business process and review the results after 90 days. Review the results after 90 days. Now, I want you to understand that progress will come from consistent experimentation. I don't expect you to record progress tomorrow or in the next 2 or 3 days, or I don't expect you to record progress immediately, but progress will come from consistent experimentation and not from waiting for perfect conditions. So there will never be perfect condition. Don't say I'm waiting for the perfect timing. I'm waiting for the perfect condition. The perfect timing or perfect conditions will never come. There's a saying that practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. So the more you practice, the more you become perfect. So once we are done today, begin to practice. It is only when you practice that you will begin to see progress, because progress comes from consistent experimentation. So start small, learn fast, build responsibly, and scale what works. So we are looking at the key takeaways. So there are 5 major things we want to look at in the takeaways. The key takeaways. Number 1 is that as you are leaving here tonight, have it at the back of your mind that entrepreneurship is evolving. The entrepreneurship we used to know 20, 30 years ago is not the same entrepreneurship we know today. Entrepreneurship is evolving. Number 2, as you leave here tonight, have it at the back of your mind that innovation creates competitive advantage. Innovation creates competitive advantage. Number 3, have it at the back of your mind that artificial intelligence or AI is an enabler and not a replacement. Like I said earlier, AI has not come to replace human beings. AI is only an enabler. It has come to enable. It has come to enhance the quality of human decisions. It has come to help humans to make quality decisions and so on. So AI is an enabler and not a replacer. AI has not come to replace human beings. Then number 4, leave here having it at the back of your mind that sustainable businesses will always create long-term value. And finally, leave here having it at the back of your mind that the future belongs to entrepreneurs who continue learning and adapting. The future belongs to entrepreneurs who continue learning and adapting. And so the question that I want to ask all of us tonight is that, what is one action you would take after leaving here tonight? I want you to pause and reflect. What one action are you willing, or will you be willing to take tonight after you leave here? When we are done with the presentation, when we are done with the program, what one action are you willing to take? Pause, reflect, and think about this. And so, before I conclude, I want to indicate that one other question I want you to reflect on is that what problem can you begin to solve with innovation and with AI in the next 30 days? Begin to think about it and you can write it down. Begin to reflect, begin to think about it and begin to write it down. What problem can you begin to solve with innovation and AI within the next 30 days? Before I conclude, I want to make it very clear. I've already mentioned this, and it is worth repeating. The future belongs to entrepreneurs who learn very fast. I have said this and I'll repeat it, that artificial intelligence will not replace entrepreneurs. No. Artificial intelligence has not come to replace entrepreneurs. Rather, entrepreneurs who use artificial intelligence will replace those who do not use artificial intelligence. So entrepreneurs who will be able to use artificial intelligence will replace entrepreneurs who will not be able to use artificial intelligence. On this note, once again, I would like to say a very big thank you to Aziza and to her organization, Cherif Peak Performance Academy in Morocco. I want to say a very big thank you to you for once again inviting me to be here with you tonight to share my thoughts and my expertise with you. I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I would like to end the presentation here. And if there are any questions, I'm more than happy and excited to receive them and to provide answers and clarification to them. Thank you very much. And the floor is open for questions.